Hello, welcome to Beezy Money, episode number 6. We're joined by a special guest tonight, UFC middleweight staple, Eryk Anders. Eryk, YaBoi Anders. How you doing tonight, Eryk? What you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing awesome in myself and yourself.
I'm pretty good. I'm happy to be interviewing you and chopping it up. And I think I want to start with the Super Bowl last night. You're a former college football player at the University of Alabama. What were your thoughts on the game? Did it end how you wanted to? Who were you rooting for? And what did you think of the game?
Yeah, it was a good game. I always appreciate low scoring games because, it means the people were playing defense, and I'm a defensive guy. So I hate when the score is, 54 to, 47 or something like that, Man, to be honest, I was cheering for the Bengals because my buddy, and guy that I played ball with at Bama, Damian Square, is now with the Bengals. So, I thought it'd be cool for him to get him a ring. As far as the game went, dude, I thought it was good. But, I hate when, for 58 minutes of a 60-minute game, they don't call any penalties.
None.
And then in the last 2 minutes of the game, they call like 10 penalties, for less than what was going on, the rest of the game. So, I hate when the refs get involved like that. How many penalties and first downs were, awarded to LA on the on that drive that they scored on to, eventually win the game. So, I hate it for the Bengals, but what can you do?
Did you think it was offensive pass interference on T. Higgins on that one play with Jalen Ramsey swiped?
Yes, yeah, and they didn't call that. But then, down there in the red zone, yeah, he threw T. Higgins, or not T. Higgins, threw Jalen Ramsey to the ground, dude. Yeah, that's for sure. If anything, if there was pass interference, but then, they don't call pass interference, or they call pass interference. I can't remember who the DB was for. Maybe it was a linebacker, just for playing tight coverage. So
yeah,
I think the only penalty that was a penalty, I think, is I don't know if it was a targeting call. But they damn near knocked Cooper Kupp out in the back of the end zone on one of those. So yeah, that may be a penalty, but the ball should have already been turned over, a field goal kicked, or whatever, long before that.
Yeah, I think Cooper Kupp got a little bit concussed on that play for sure, but it was all worth it in the end. Do you think Cooper Kupp deserved the MVP or Aaron Donald?
Yeah, I do, because on that drive alone, it was all Cooper Kupp. I'm not sure what he finished with.
8 and 92 and 2.
8 catches for 92 and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, dude, that sounds like MVP numbers to me. I know Aaron Donald had like 4 tackles and a sack and a half against, one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. So, I mean, I'm not trying to take nothing away from Aaron Donald and what he did. He played great, came in on a great, 4th down stop, to get a turnover or whatever. I know it was a 3rd down or whatever, but it was whatever and one. And, he came in and one arm tackled P. Ryan or
Samante P. Ryan, yep.
Yeah, so, he played great. The team played great, but I think that drive alone, Cooper Kupp. And what I also think? I thought that they always did like an offensive MVP and a defensive MVP anyways. I know they used to do that. I don't know when they stopped doing that. So, maybe they could be co-MVPs.
I thought Donald deserved it. I just thought he was going insane the whole game. Great player. And I mentioned earlier, you're a former college football athlete. You played in the NFL, you had some NFL experience. Watching the Super Bowl, do you ever get that thought like, man, this is what I really wanted at some point? And is it weird for you to watch like the Super Bowl, or is that just you don't have
that? I've turned that page to the new chapter in my life a long time ago. Of course, everybody who ever puts on a pair of pads at any point in their life, dreams of, making a game-winning tackle or a game-winning interception or touchdown or whatever, in the highest level of the biggest game in the sport. So yeah, of course, I wanted that. But flip the coin. Um, the night before, I was sitting on the floor watching, two guys have a, really great fight in my weight class for the belt. So, that really fired me up to get in there and fight.
Absolutely. It's a great card, and it was your division. We'll talk about that fight towards the end, but I want to talk about your last two fights. You've been on big, like, pay-per-view cards your last two fights. Is that something that you prefer to be on, like a big pay-per-view kind of card, or versus a fight night, or does it really matter to you?
Man, there's pros and cons to it all. If they could bring the Apex cage to the pay-per-views, dude, that would be the best scenario because, the big cage is cool. I mean, the crowd is cool. I like the crowd, the energy, everything. There's nothing like, punching somebody and, ooh, you hear all that from the crowd and whatnot. But, I mean, man, that cage is so much bigger than the one at the Apex. But, the Apex, there's only like, 25, 30 people in there. So, yeah, I wish that they could, mix the two. But, I love the energy of the crowd. I like performing in front of fans and whatnot because without fans, excuse me, there really is no sport, So
Yeah, that's a good answer.
there's
That's a
pros and cons to both.
It's a really and it was Adesanya Vittori, the last one you were on, and then Poirier Oliveira, the last one you were on to end 2021. Do you take in that feeling of the entire night, or are you more focused on your opponent that night? Nothing really else.
Yeah, just my opponent, the entire night. And then when after the fight is done, man, I go back to the hotel, take a shower, kind of relax, grab a beer, and then I go right back to the arena and, go from being a fighter to back to being a fan of the sport the same night. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's got to be awesome. And it seems like I've been a UFC fan growing up. I'm 25 now, but you were in the UFC in 2017 when you first joined. That was 5 years ago. You're 12 fights in, and it doesn't seem like that long ago, which is crazy to me. So if you could, like, encapsulate your UFC journey to this point, you joined when you were 8-0. 5 years later, Eryk Anders, like, how would you encapsulate this 5-year journey in the biggest mecca of the sport, the UFC?
Man, it's been a windy road, a lot of ups and downs, hills and valleys, But man, we keep marching, So win, lose, or disqualification. Man, just keep it moving, And that's it is what it is, and keep on keeping on.
It's been a great journey, Eryk. I think people love watching you fight, and you bring the entertainment. Any fight that you're in, people know that it's going to be a good fight. So, like I said, 2022, a lot of people make New Year's resolutions and stuff like that. You fought at the end of 2021. Coming into 2022, do you have any goals in mind specifically for your career in the UFC?
I'd like to fight 3 times, go 3-0. So we'll see how everything shapes up. Opponents, this, that, and the third, and see what's up. So, yeah, the only goal is to win as much as possible, and fight as often as possible. So outside of that, just make money.
3 fights. Do you have any middleweights at the top of your head? Anyone being talked about? Anyone your management is throwing at you to start off 2022?
Not yet. I'm just coming off of a little surgery, so
Okay.
I'm just getting back into the swing of things. So hopefully, sometime this spring, definitely before summer, get in there and make some things happen.
Okay. So if the UFC came to you and said you have your choice of a fight night or the next big pay-per-view, what are you saying?
Shit. Pay-per-view. So I can do what I said. The pay-per-views are usually in public arenas, like where fans can be. So then I can go fight and then go sit in the stands. Those Apex fights, when it's over with, man, it's go home and you ain't coming back here. So, but those are usually in Vegas. So I go catch it at a bar or something in Vegas and have a good time.
Okay. Are you training in Birmingham? Are you training in Arizona?
Yeah, I'm in Birmingham right now, but whenever that contract gets signed, I'll be heading out west.
Okay. Arizona, that's got to be nice. How long do you like live there for stretches? Just a couple
8,
months?
10 weeks,
Okay.
something like that.
Okay. And I described like your fighting style. I think you got like your power is one thing that comes to mind when I watch you fight. You have true power where you can put guys away, very easily than other middleweights. When did you find out that you had this type of power? How did you find out? And was it in the UFC or was it way before sometime?
Man, I always knew, just by hitting pads and stuff, like the way it sounds, the coach or the pad holder, they always say it's like, oh, you got power, but I really didn't like put it together until the UFC, you know. I think that Hoppy on the Tall was kind of like my coming out party. That's probably the first time I ever I had a lot of TKOs. I think in 8 fights, I had 6 finishes before I got to the UFC, but that's probably like the first person that I actually like stretched out like a legitimate KO and not like a TKO where they're still conscious but couldn't defend themselves kind of thing. That was the first time someone's body ever in like organized fighting anyways, somebody's body just kind of went limp in front of me. And yeah, there's not too many better satisfying feelings than that.
Is it more? You've probably been asked it. Is it more satisfying than getting a big sack in the national championship game against Texas? Can you
Dude,
compare?
it's a tough question to answer because that sack was like one of the last few plays that I played in college. So yeah, it's got to be up there. Hopefully, you know, I plan on knocking a few more people out. So I'll have more knockouts, but and to have a sack of that magnitude in a game of that magnitude in that situation, 3 minutes left in the game or whatever, it's hard to beat the scenario.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we'll talk about the Adesanya and Whittaker fight. That is your division. It was the title fight. It was a rematch. What did you think? I saw your last tweet from the night was about Roxanne Modafferi, and congrats to her on an amazing career. She's an amazing fighter. But what did you think about Adesanya Whittaker? Did you have Robert Whittaker winning the fight?
Nah.
No.
I think that I really hate when people say that you have to take the belt or beat the champ. Like if I win 3 out of 5 rounds, I win.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if it's the first 3, the middle 3, the last 3, or 1, 3, and 5. It doesn't matter. But I think it's really hard to win a fight backing up. Robert Whittaker was backing up a lot, especially early. And yeah, he I don't know what like the punch count or strike count was, but he had one really good round. He took him down twice, took his back. But other than that, I think that when you take somebody down for it to like count as a takedown, you have to hold them down. You have to or do damage. He did neither. Even though he had his back, yeah, you're controlling the fight, but so I give him that round. But maybe the 5th round, if I remember right. But
Yeah.
no, I don't think that he won.
Were you impressed with Izzy Adesanya? How impressed are you with him, like as an overall fighter for the champ?
Well, man, he's 21-1, and the only fight that he lost, he went up and fought. He went up in weight and fought, and he's was probably outweighed by. I don't know what Adesanya walks around at, man, but it can't be, too much.
Mm-hmm.
Blachowicz is a big dude, so this is why they do have weight classes. So yeah, I think he's been a phenomenal champion. He's great for the sport. Just got paid. Brings a lot of eyes to the sport, and especially on like an international level.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So yeah, he's the champ. He's beat everybody at middleweight that he's come across. I don't think that any of his fights have been close. When I say close, I mean like at the end of the fight, you're like, okay, yeah, he won. So he seems to kind of do just enough
Right.
to win. You know, we saw that with Romero. We saw that with, you know, this last fight. So yeah, I'm sure people want him to be like take more risk and you know, go out there and, you know, try to end fights, but at the same time, put yourself in his shoes. You know, the more damage he takes, the shorter his career will be. And you know, he's fighting the top guys. You know, so you know, if he's comfortable to go out there and edge out, you know, 5-round decisions, you know, good on him. You know, he's taking home both checks, remaining the champ, which, you know, the longer your reign is, the more money's going to add up, you know, through endorsements and things like that, you know. So, you know, keep the belt. Do your thing.
You were in the building that night, weren't you?
I was, yeah.
What was your what was Eryk Anders' 271 experience like?
Dude, it was great, man. The whole night of fights was great. Kyler Phillips looked fantastic. The Derek Lewis
Yes.
Tuivasa fight was bananas. And I think Tuivasa, you know, we all know he's got knockout power, but man, you know, his chin really got tested, you know.
Yeah,
he got took down, got back up, got hit a bunch by the dude who has the most knockouts in the UFC. So, you know, he showed off his chin. Brunson Cantonier was a great fight. It's crazy how quickly a fight can change direction, you know. Oh, and what's the little Brazilian dude? Douglas
De Andrade.
Yeah, dude, that was bananas, dude. You know, he was getting his ass whooped and, you know, found a way to will himself to a victory, got himself a submission at that, you know, picked up an extra $50K. So, you know, Renato Moicano looked rejuvenated. Let me try and think. The Modafferi Casey O'Neill fight was good too, man.
Yeah, 50K.
And I was expecting that fight to, you know, be grapple heavy, but no, dude. They kind of stood in the octagon and slugged each other for 3 rounds. Which, look, I get it. You know, do what you got to do to win. If wrestling and positional control that is your way to victory, go for it. You know, I'm never gonna hate on a fighter for winning a fight, but as a fan, yeah, dude, I love it when they stand in the middle and tee off on each other, and that's what they did. And you know, it was a great fight.
Yeah, were there any shoeys for Eryk Anders that night?
I didn't do any shoeys, but if Tai Tuivasa wanted to do a shoey, man, it'd be hard to turn him down. It would just have to be out of my own shoe, man. I don't trust, you know, some of these other people out here with their, you know, foot hygiene. So it would have to be out of my own shoe.
It would have to be your own shoe. I did one, and I did it off of a shoe that I don't really use. So, I mean, I don't know if that counts, but I did one. So, and it was on Fight
It counts.
Okay. And
but you got to do it with the man, you know?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But it was in honor of him. So.
I was, all right. Well,
I was excited.
I'm sure he'll take it.
Yeah. Okay. And then we talked about that was a rematch, the main event, Adasanya Whittaker. At that level, when you're in the UFC, preparing for a rematch has got to be a little bit different, I imagine, because you know that this guy is at the top of the game and he's going to make the adjustments necessary. You've had a rematch with Darren Stewart, and you know you had to prepare for that the second time around. How is preparing for a rematch at this level, UFC level?
Well, for me, like I already knew that Darren Stewart was on the way out and that he had kind of made an excuse to get out of the first fight. So I knew that had to be in the back of his head in the second fight. So I thought that he would either A, try to go out on a shield, or 2, you know, try and point fight, which is what he tried to do the second time. But, you know, it didn't really quite work out for him, you know, like that. That's what I'm saying. Like, I like fighting in that small cage because they can't do that point fight bullshit. They can't, you know, just try to touch and run. You know, they have to engage. And, you know, if it doesn't work out for me, it doesn't work out for me. It is what it is. But those are the type of fights that I like to be in. I hate, like, going in there and have to chase somebody down, you know. It's not fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. But yeah, you did come out victorious against Darren Stewart twice. I'll say it. But you had a meet and greet with Michael Chiesa and I think like Kevin Holland. Was that your first?
No, it was just Chiesa, Kevin
Okay.
Holland, and I think Adrian Yanez went at a different time.
Okay. Was that your first like UFC meet and greet experience?
No, I did. I've done a few now.
Okay.
I did one before for International Fight Week back in June of last year, or July, one of the two, whenever it was. And that was a great time.
Okay. We saw like Kevin Holland, the guy was talking some ish to him, brought him into the gym to spar. Was anyone talking that ish to Eryk Anders?
Oh, dude, I get it all the time. But kudos to that dude for actually showing up, man. I've had people say that they'll fight me for 30 grand, and I'm like, dude, bring 30 grand to the gym, and we'll work it out. But of course, they never show up. So yeah, that dude got his ass whooped. Yeah, he was talking shit, but kudos to him for at least showing up and taking his licking. So
yeah,
it's more than I can say for a lot of these other trolls.
That's true. Have you ever had an experience with a fan that was serious, close? It came close.
Nah, man. See that, but that's the thing, man. People,
Smart.
On the internet, they're so brave. They'll say whatever. They'll, talk about your mama. But when they see you to their face, I've never had a fan like disrespect me. Even talk shit, say that I suck, or definitely never got physical. So, it's people's attitude change when we're here, when we're face to face. But on the internet, man, people say what they want. They're brave. It is what it is, though. So, it's part of the game.
Internet's a crazy place, and I think Helwani said it on his show today. For someone to like say something to a fighter on the internet is just, you're a crazy person. I think that's it. Was just unreal. Like, I don't know how you could do that. But
yeah, but I've never had like anybody challenge me, and I never introduced myself as an MMA fighter. I'm just like, hey, I'm Eryk. What's up? But I'll go out with some of my friends or whatever, and they'll be like, oh, this is Eryk. He fights in the UFC or whatever. Oh, nice. And their friends, it happens a lot. They're like, oh, I'm undefeated in street fights, or give me this long ass dissertation about how they trained for 2 days and for whatever reason they don't train anymore or can't train anymore. And I'm just like, dog, it's cool. I think being a fighter or an athlete in general is one of those jobs. Like if I just random example, if I met you and you told me you were an architect, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I once drew I once made the London Bridge out of popsicle sticks, when I was in the 3rd grade. That's not something that I would say, and probably no one would ever say. So, I just think that being a fighter and an athlete, I don't know why, but people are just feel the need to compare, themselves to you.
Yeah, they think that the same with football too, like the two major sports where people, I think, have a strong opinion on like your performance or whatever. And
I always get like I was getting recruited by, Texas and Ohio State, but I got hurt, or me and my coach didn't get along in high school, so I quit, whatever, blah blah blah. I mean, it's cool, dude. You didn't make it. A lot of people, more people don't make it than do make it. So it's cool. It's fine to, not make it.
That's why I think MMA is one of it is my favorite sport. It's my favorite sport to watch, and football as well, because it's a respect thing for me. I know that I can't go out there and do it. So the amount of respect that I have for like athletes like yourself is what makes me love the sport so much, because I know I couldn't do it.
Yeah, but you're, I think, sometimes in the minority of men, especially, who can admit that to themselves. I think a lot of guys, especially younger guys, they're like, "Oh, I could do that." And I was one of those dudes too. Before I started fighting, I was like, "Dude, I'll fuck them up, dude." I remember watching Shogun and Machida fight, and I wasn't like, "Oh yeah," but I thought to myself, I was like, "Dude, I bet you I can fight those dudes. I bet you I could do it." You know, I never like ran around saying that, like I could beat everybody up or whatever. And then I fought Machida and
Yeah.
lost, and I was like, fuck, dude. It's just like the first thing I thought about. I was like, dude, like maybe 8 years ago, I was like, dude, I fucked this guy up, and then I end up losing to him. Like, fuck.
Had your chance, but that's got to be an amazing experience with Machida. I'll ask you. I ask this to every fighter I interview. I'm from Kansas City. I'm not training or anything, but James Krause is kind of like our coach. I like to say. I'm not sure how that would work, but he's just everyone's coach here. Would you ever come train in Kansas City with him, Julian Marquez, Carl Roberson?
Oh, I didn't know that Carl Roberson's out there now, but yeah, James is a great guy, dude. You know, I'm just kicking it with him this past weekend. You know, very knowledgeable. His fighters are doing well. You know, he does a great job of growing and developing fighters. You know, you can look at Tim Elliott,
Yeah.
Julian Marquez, who's on a roll right now. So, you know, the proof is in the pudding with James. So, you know, and you know, the cool thing about him is he's knowledgeable about a lot of things, finances, you know, making money, excuse me, things like that. So, you know, he has a lot to offer to, you know, young fighters who are trying to manage their money, make money, and grow and develop in this game.
Yeah, I think it's well said. And we got a big guy coming up this weekend, David Onama. Really looking forward to his second fight in the UFC this weekend against Gabriel Benitez. But Eryk, I really appreciate the time and like you coming on and joining me. Now I always do my final 3 questions that are just, you know, pretty random. They don't really have anything to do with anything. So I'd like to end it off with my final 3.
Let's do it.
So we had a bit of a collab. Question 1, in the Super Bowl halftime show last night, you know, 4 or 5 people. If you could choose 4 or 5 artists for Eryk Anders' dream halftime show, and they don't have to have previously collabed or anything. It could be, I don't even like anything. Any 4 or 5 artists. What's your dream collab?
Well, man, I'm pretty upset that they left Ice Cube out of the halftime show. I don't know if it's because, you know, him and Dre are still beefing or what, but definitely him.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
I think the Prince halftime show was probably the best. You know, I think it's crazy that people think that this halftime show is the best of all. I'm like, dude, what? I'd want performers out there, like people who not just like sing, but like they're performers. Like Prince is a performer. Michael Jackson is a performer.
Like an artist.
I don't know how those 3 would
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
would work together. Maybe a little Hendrix.
Okay.
I'll go with those 4.
Okay. I like that answer. Like Michael Jackson, Ice Cube, Prince, and Jimi Hendrix. Yeah. That's what's up. I like that a lot. I won't give you my 4 because it's questionable, to say the least. Very questionable.
Just don't say Taylor Swift or nothing like that.
No. You know, I was a fan of the Jennifer Lopez and
Me too. Yes. Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was great.
Probably my favorite, and I'm not afraid to say it, but I would go Wiz Khalifa, Juicy J, Ace Hood, Tory Lanez, and Roscoe Dash.
Okay. All right.
Just a random mix, but it would be a party for sure.
Sure.
It'd be crazy. All right. So my next question is, if possible, if you had the chance, would you ever let Nick Saban corner you in a fight?
Man, I'm not sure if Nick Saban knows anything about throwing punches and wrestling. So,
but he's a coach. You know, he's gonna get in there and do the job. I feel like
he would be a great life coach. He would be a great kind of like Saif Saeed from Fortis in the corner, kind of yell, get you amped up, get you ready to go, clear your mind and focus, and you know, focus on the task at hand, kind of thing. So, yeah, sure, why not?
Okay, so if he comes up to you and he's like, "Hey, Eryk, I just, you know, I've been watching you. I want to corner you in a fight," you're saying yes?
Man, I think I would for sure have to ask him, but if he did ask, dude, you can't say no to Nick.
Okay. Yeah, I think that would be awesome. That would be awesome. That'd be amazing. And then my final question, Eryk, is You mentioned it. You fought Lyoto the Dragon Machida, which was probably an amazing experience for you. Like looking back on it, he's one of the greats in the middleweight division. If you had to pick your dream fight, and it could be active or not active, who would that be for you?
Dude, I don't know. I get asked that question all the time, and I still don't have an answer. But I mean, the answer I always give is whoever has the belt, because at the end of the day, that's what the dream is for, and that's like going to the NFL. Everybody wants to win a Super Bowl. Everybody wants to win a national championship. Everybody who fights wants to win a belt. I've won belts at obviously much lower levels,
Okay.
but yeah, dude. I think fight for the belt and or win the belt. I think would be it'd be a lot easier to answer the question, which is better, winning a championship in fighting or winning a championship in football. It would definitely be the biggest achievement of my life, I think, especially my athletic career for sure.
Absolutely. And so you're looking to make a comeback in the spring sometime. That's when we'll
Yeah,
see.
hopefully, we'll see what's on the table and what's going on.
Okay. Well, Eryk, I really appreciate you joining on Beezy Money episode 6. One of the biggest guests I've ever had so far. Huge fan of yours. I can't wait to see you fight next. Is there any final words you want to say before we go?
Man, thank you for all the love and support, and catch me next time I'm in the octagon.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for watching Beezy Money episode 6. We'll be back next week with another guest. Eryk, I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you.